you, Kenya, so much for that, but I think for more than anything, for trusting me with my voice before I fully trusted myself, and giving me the platform and even giving me the opportunity, if not the ignition, to go for the role of producer and to go for the role of writer and all of the other things that I would have never thought were possible. Of course, thanking my parents first for creating this lovely, amazing foundation in which I get to live the rest of my life.
Tell me about your parents and the foundation that they laid out for you.
For creating a universe in which it was filled with people who look like me and people who don't, for allowing me to fulfill every little whimsical dream of mine, even if that took us to Italy or the museum when no one else wanted to go. I really appreciate it. So, okay, as the nerd that I am, I'm gonna go on a tangent, but it'll make sense in a second. I was reading Souls of Black Folk yesterday, and also reading a couple books about the political state of America. And there was this
Tell me about the last book that you read.
term brought up called pseudo-patriotism, or the concept that theoretically in your ideals you stand for the greater good of your country, but when it comes down to actually promoting plans that help subsidize education for other people, promoting plans in which you truly believe in equity, you are not there, you're not present, and you're not lending your voice. And it's really, I think, speaks to the bigger picture of how we learn, this concept that we learn so much about ourselves but not of other people. And if you are a person of color, you don't even learn about yourself very often. And it speaks to also this concept of education, of knowing that I knew more about Napoleon Bonaparte by the age of 8 than the Civil Rights Movement, knowing more about the whereabouts of Holden Caulfield before opening up the books of Zora Neale Hurston and James Baldwin. There's this familiarity that I've had to have with other culture in which other culture has never had to be familiar with my being. And so I just have to say what inspires me consistently is the power of storytelling. I didn't watch much TV or movies growing up, but I did read a whole lot. And I think because of that, I didn't realize that there were barriers on my existence.
Now, the power of storytelling is very, very real. If you always been interested in telling your story, look in the description box. You will see my course teaching you how to write a book, as well as my book. Check it out.
Until I stepped out into the world, because in these books there were people from from Africa, from Egypt, from Iran, from the 60s, from the 20s, from the 1800s, in which they are accomplishing amazing things. And so I thought, of course, I can do the same. And just my very presence being the product of a Black and Iranian family, that not only speaks to a kind of love that transcends culture, but a kind of love that can only give you hope, because it is the unity of two transatlantic peoples. And so I think more than anything, we need storytelling because it's a sort of supplementary history. It is a history in which we are able to bring the nuance in places in which nuance is not allowed. We are able to say to everybody who goes through their AP history classes or any kind of history and never actually sees the names that remind them of their family's last names, to say, look at your stories, because we have been invested in you. And it's that feeling of investment that also normalizes a feeling of belonging. And I think that at the center of every great movement have been storytellers. We've been people who've decided to push past the concept of pseudo-patriotism, because the basis of storytelling, and I may seem utopic in my ideals, but the basis of storytelling is this concept of worth, of looking at other people and saying, you're worthy of being listened to, and you are worthy of being heard. And while we are fighting for equity, an equity that I've greatly benefited from, an equity in which I am able to dream even bigger than I could have even imagined, we also fight an amalgamation of being able to wake up, and where many people have had to choose which identity to fight for, saying, we're gonna fight for you as a whole human. You're no longer going to have to wake up and choose between the discrimination of being a woman or a woman of color or of an immigrant or of the LGBTQ community, of the labor rights movement. No matter what movement you decide to associate with, we are going to fight for you as a full human, because you should be allowed the space to enter as a full, whole person. And so I just have to say thank you to everyone in this room who with their stories have made it a little more possible for us to exist. And I just have to say thank you for everyone who's been so committed, whether as producers or as people in front of the camera, because who are we if not each other? And so with that, I just am grateful for your time.
I want you to take this time and go into the comments and tell me your thoughts about this video. This was a very, very powerful speech. And I want you to really give me your insights on it. Also, I want you to subscribe to the channel, show the video some love by giving me a like, share it with someone that you feel deserves or needs to hear it, as well as consider joining the membership. Help me mold the channel so the channel can grow and prosper and help many other people.